Hey, Paul. I cannot hear anything.
How about now?
I can hear you, but nothing.
Now we'll be right from the
Oh,
You want to share theirs first, and then we'll jump into. Yeah, so we're gonna share theirs first, and if you like their ideas, you can. And then you guys will be able to share with everybody else.
Jump, sorry, but my Zoom got crashed. Can you read what you wrote on the chat room? Can you hear us?
I can hear you now, but I cannot hear Melissa. And earlier it was like muted.
Okay, so can you read off the responses that you have typed in the chat box?
Can you guys read what you wrote in the chat box, please? Because it got deleted.
Oh, okay. Joanne said inside sharing encouragement, outside telling a lie.
Ooh. Yes, I like that. Any others that you guys would like to share? Or people online?
I said out is yelling, nagging, order, demands, abuses, negative comments, and ends is hugs. Nice words, constructive feedback, and respect.
Nice. What maybe like a person or two, or who would like to share from each group? You guys, go ahead, Alyssa.
From outside my circle, it'd be people that expect too much emotionally from me, like clingy people too. But in my circle, I would want positive people, family that respects my decision. And if I'm busy, like I can't drop everything because I used to do that a lot.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Anyone else would like to share from any group? Anyone? Yes.
Like one-sided relationships outside of the box.
I would say, I don't think that'd be inside. I like that. Anyone else would like to share, whether inside or outside? Doesn't matter. We're good. Or, you know, or that you're doing a little. So as you can see, some people, when you discuss with your group, some people, what is in their inside or what their outside might be different from yours. What you wrote might be completely different because that's what's on the front of their brain right now. And we are going to go into what are characteristics of healthy boundaries, what are characteristics of unhealthy boundaries, and we're going to go over the different types of boundaries as well. And then day 2, 3, and 4 would go, you know, more in depth for it. So let's see. To go over what a boundary is again.
Yeah. So as we were discussing, you have already heard Melissa share a couple of times already, share her use of the word rigid and porous. What does rigid means to you? When someone's rigid.
Unbending.
Right. And how many here have witnessed it in our life, whether at work, at home, at school, or we have received that feedback from someone else telling you you're rigid? And you feel comfortable, safe enough to share what happened in your case? Right? So rigid, as Raj said, unbending, is either black or white. And sometimes it can become more clinical when it gets to the severe aspect of it. And when we determine clinical is when it's pervasive. It affects a person's whole life. In every aspect of their life, it's pervasive. Then that becomes a clinical diagnosis, right? Rigidity is a symptom of a certain diagnosis. And then we also heard the word porous. Right? By the definition about the word alone, porous, right? Similar to a sponge, right? SpongeBob, right? In and out, everything goes in and out, nothing stays, right? The boundary is not really set. So And then we've seen that commercial on TV about oversharing. It's a drunk drive, right? Well, that's how someone know if the friend is drunk or not. It's from the overshare, right? And we have heard of the term like there's 3 types of drunks: the happy one, the angry one, and the quiet, sleepy one. Right? I'm the quiet, sleepy one. Right? When I drink, I go to sleep. So I don't drink when I'm at the party because I want to have fun. Right? When I was in Japan, one of our friends, classmates, she's a happy drunk. When she drinks, she's like kissing everybody, chasing after them, trying to kiss them. Right? And then I've seen a lot, right? I've seen a lot of people. I know a lot of people in my own life who are angry drunk, right? When they become very aggressive, right? Yes, right. And we know it's there. Keep the alcohol away from that person, right? Or when that person starts drinking, everybody's like, change the subject. Right? So define for ourselves what is healthy, and each of us have a different level of healthiness, right? So develop for ourselves that what does that boundary look like for Sharon? Keep picking on you, right? So for us, like how close is that personal space a healthy space, right? And I like to use the analogy of like a nucleus, right? And inside a nuclei, there's different proton, right? Different circles. The stronger, the closer they are, the stronger the bond. Right? And so our boundaries is similar. I have many circle of friends. I have many circle of acquaintances and business associates, all kinds of stuff. We don't share, and I don't share everything to everybody. And that's why when we teach people, we need to have at least 5 different support systems. Because not everyone is the right and appropriate person for us to share about topic A. Right? For me, I developed a system where I have like 5 people for topic A, 5 people for topic B, 5 people for topic C. Because if I only have one available that I can share about topic A, and this person is not available when I need to talk about topic A, and I can't talk about the other 4, then I'm stuck. And so healthy boundaries also talking about if you guys play any of those role play game where you create castles and expand, right? Right. That's the kind of you try to build more resources for yourself, so that way when we need to utilize our resources, right, to maintain a healthy lifestyle, then we have people and the resources necessary to support. So that's the part, and you need to know your own. What's the rule? What's the limit? If someone's coming over unannounced, and this is the 5th time, right? Did you say no from 1 to 4? If you say no 1 or 2 and they still coming the 5th time, right? What can you do? Right? What can you do? Will you open the door? Right? You don't want to open the door, but someone else in your family will open the door. Then what?
You just turn off all the lights and pretend you're not home.
Right?
Just kidding.
Will it be considered as disrespectful, rude, unacceptable if you said, I'm sorry, I can't host you today? Right now, either myself or family, we have things that we need to do. We don't have the capacity to host anyone. Even if it's family.
And one person may feel uncomfortable saying that, whereas someone who has practiced that boundary, it's a lot easier. So even sometimes like within my family, I see my mom struggle, say certain things, and I'm like, oh, do you want me to say that for you? I'm okay with that boundary. I'm okay with it.
And if we don't feel comfortable saying it, articulate verbally, we can write it. Now we can text it, right? We can text a message, or if we want to really still maintain that relationship, right, and be respectful. Hey, can I talk to you alone? I'll walk that person off to a private place and say, I appreciate your visit and welcome your visit. This is the 5th time I've asked you to announce, to let us know in advance, because we want to be good hosts. We feel bad when we cannot host you well, or any guests when they come over. And we do not want our guests to come over when our house is still a mess. So for us, I appreciate right? For me to be the best host that I can, is give me the heads up so that I can know my capacity, my availability, because I may have other activities. Now I have to put it aside. Right? So having that conversation is also about setting the boundaries. And then we can go to the healthy versus unhealthy boundary.
Yeah, we'll do this one really quickly, because we've kind of already talked about it. You guys have already shown and demonstrated some knowledge already about it. So we can go through this activity just a bit quicker, and we'll spend more time on the next activity. So this one, the definition, obviously at the top, it just says boundaries are guidelines, rules, or limits that a person creates to identify for themselves what is reasonable, safe, and permissible ways for others to behave around them, and how they will respond when someone steps out of those limits that they have set up. So with your group, you guys are just going to write down common traits. What does a healthy boundary look like? What does an unhealthy boundary look like or feel like? So a healthy boundary for me, I feel very confident about it. I feel, you know, if you can write down what it looks like, what it feels like, it is very open-ended. So just go ahead and discuss it. You can have one person taking notes. All of you don't have to write it. So go ahead and discuss, and then you guys are just going to share quickly. I'll give you guys about a minute and a half to do this quickly with your your group. But discuss first, and then you come together. Or one person take notes. Efficient and effective.
Sure.
And then we'll jump over.
So.
Did you send the worksheet in the email?
Unhealthy.
So John and Gilwan, if you can go to the email that Melissa has sent to you, in that email it has a worksheet.
This one we're working on. This one should be, oh, I don't know the number.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. I got it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for the confirmation.
Yes.
Respected.
And you can type in your responses to the exercise, John and Gilwan. They all have copies, right?
About 30 more seconds to wrap up with your group. Just their quick little, what is healthy, unhealthy.
You didn't dig it.
Sharon, I still am like, I will forever remember that. And then it was like this. So you're sitting and you went like this. And then you just stayed over here. All right, so I'm gonna read a couple from here. We have a healthy boundary, being able to say what you think, feel, need in a very respectful manner. Love that. Unhealthy would be having to guess what others need and want. And I feel now I can read people a little bit better about boundaries, personal boundaries, even if they're unspoken. But that's very, very good. I really like that. What did you guys get for just a couple characteristics for, let's do healthy first.
We put civil.
Ooh, I like them.
reasonable. Both parties have to be able to understand each other's boundaries, very clear expectations, and compromise.
Compromise, yes, yes. What did you guys get for healthy?
I got the same as last time, was respecting others' decisions, self-imposed and understood.
And what was that one?
Understood.
Understood, yes, yes. And let's do unhealthy. Let's start on this side again.
Disrespectful and
Clingy, yes. Energy vampire, that's what I like to call sometimes. And this side for unhealthy, whoever would like to speak, doesn't matter. You guys all glance at each other.
We then like either aggressive or like resentful type of guilt tripping.
Like guilt manipulation type of thing, yes.
Like a rejection of the boundary, whether that be like just passing it by, treating it as a joke. And then we also mentioned like when that boundary risks your own values, like move that boundary.
For someone else, so you're putting other people's needs and wants first instead of that compromise that we want. That's our main goal. So with that said, I love that you guys had such in-depth characteristics of healthy versus unhealthy, which leads us to go to this worksheet. And this will be our last kind of activity for this lesson. I'm not going to read every single thing here for you, but I'm going to go over just a couple things, and then we're going to do a little activity before we wrap things up. So personal boundaries are the limits and rules we set for ourselves. We can't set someone else's boundaries. We wish we can, but we cannot. And we've learned that some people have a mixed set of boundaries. For example, I have a very, because you all know I went to prison. So when I got out, I used to have porous boundaries. I had zero, none, just everyone walked all over me. When I got out, I noticed I was very rigid, where I was like, nope, there's no leeway, I don't care. And so now finding the balance between rigid and porous, that's the healthy. And so you guys can see the different characteristics here. So let's go ahead and look at the summary of each one. It should be these boxes right here. So a rigid boundary is a person who always keeps others at a distance, whether it's emotionally, physically, or other types. A porous person, they tend to get too involved with others. Like, how are you feeling? Tell me about your day. And it's just, there's no boundaries with them. And then if you're so involved with other people's lives, how are you going to have your own boundaries for your own self? And a healthy person, they can say no to others when they want to, but they're also comfortable opening themselves up to intimacy and close relationships. So you with your group, you guys can look at the different characteristics for each, but what you're going to do is your group is going to come up with an example for a rigid, a porous, and a healthy boundary. Okay, and then once you guys write it down as a group, so one for each section, then we're going to have the other group guess which one it is. Okay, so you can have it apply to a personal, work, school, in a relationship. You just give an example of that boundary. So if you can use any of these to kind of do a little scenario or something like that, but the other group will guess. So you guys probably have like maybe 2 to 3 minutes to go ahead and come up with some examples and write it down. And I'll just be looking and seeing when you guys finish up. And then online people, if you guys could give an example for each, or just write one, and then we will guess as a class. Just write one. Don't tell us what it is, which one it is, we will guess.
Or like, you just kind of cross the line. Yeah. Yeah.
I was hoping that.
Or not seeking. It's clear that you
Right.
need it.
Well, we
Like,
can do
that's
the,
like-
the discussion with
Right, sometimes like for me, I feel like I can never change. I really try to not, I'm not supposed to be.
Right.
But I never try, is that just like that? I suppose that, you know, what needs help for me.
I can understand use of common sense.
Yeah, kind of like.
So we're gonna get to that.
Cancel their plans to-
Then they're gonna reveal it.
It might be.
About 2 more minutes.
Ignoring.
About 1 more minute to finish up. We're gonna take one.
Reiterate that. It's a thing. Not that it works, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, that's another. The trainees. You're in my space. Get out of my space.
Ray, what's the Wi-Fi password for him?
So,
Which one are you using?
I'm using my hotspot, but it's now,
No, I mean, but which one compared to?
I'm reaching its limits. It's got warning.
Oh,
Your
Yeah.
hotspot?
Yeah, my hotspot just.
Oh, I'm gonna have to take mine off too.
No, I'll just put. I'll, give you the,
Let's see.
hold on, use the bottom switch. Because the student one is.
Oh, yeah, Q Academy?
what about, like,
Yeah.
you know, Fred
It's
asked
case
you to help
sensitive.
do something,
Okay.
you know, do it. I mean, you say, I can't do it this week, I can do it next week. So basically, setting the back, when you do it, rather than saying, okay, I'll do it. You know, kind of go with the other one, but it's kind of the healthy version, yeah.
You can't see it.
All right, let's go ahead and share from online, and you guys are gonna guess. So I'll give you guys about 15 seconds. Once we read it, you guys have 15 seconds to come up with your hopefully unanimous answer as a group. All right, so the first one is, let's see, I'll just pick one. Oh, the mouse. Telling everyone in a nail salon about issues you have with an in-law. So you guys have 15 seconds to discuss when you're done and you know your answer, raise your hand with your group. Which boundary is it between those three? Well, no, raise your hand. Let's stop by calling you. Oh, you guys know? That's how smart you are? What is it? What is it? Tell me. What kind of boundary is this?
The first one?
Yeah, so telling everyone in a nail salon about issues you have with an in-law, would that be a rigid boundary, a forced boundary, a healthy boundary? What do you guys think? What did you guys just decide?
That's kind of oversharing your personal life.
Okay, so it's a little bit of oversharing, you guys? Porous, you guys agree as well? I personally think that is porous. I mean, it's not gonna go anywhere, but we don't need to share all that. Telling your memories about the loved one you, who just passed away, at their funeral. So just sharing the memory. So discuss real quick, 10 seconds. All right, what you guys get?
Healthy.
You guys? I agree with you. All right, you guys are gonna now share one for everybody to guess. So which one would you guys like to share? And they're gonna guess what it is. Just pick one and share it. That's all you gotta do.
When your supervisor sets boundaries about when they can be contacted versus not about any issue, like maybe you can't text me after 6 p.m., even if it's an emergency, and there's no flexibility or compromise for any.
Okay. So as this group, what do you think that is? And why do you think it's rigid?
You're just kind of avoiding it.
You're avoiding it. It's like too much of a big boundary because, you know, I prefer not to be a healthy version of that would be like, you know, these are my working hours from this time to this time after, you know, 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Oh, please only contact me if it is an emergency, you know? And sometimes people have their little away messages, so you know, but then they also provide additional resource. If you can't get a hold of me, here is the number. And that would be more of a healthy boundary. Thank you. Okay, which one do you guys want to share? And they're gonna guess.
Not seeking help when you need it in a classroom setting, like your pride gets in the way and embarrassment gets in the way.
You guys hear it? Yeah. What do you guys? Rigid? Were they correct? And why do you guys think it is rigid? Rigid.
One more time.
Or louder too. Please.
Not seeking help when you need it in a classroom setting because your pride and embarrassment gets in the way.
Okay, yeah, so like not being open to like any other avenues, not being flexible.
Not being, yeah, not going with the flow and things like that. Yeah, exactly. So these are you guys, well, day 2, 3, and 4, we would be referring back to all of these. So this is a very good thing for you guys to even practice in your own life. And let's see.
So next, we're gonna reflect. So imagine.
Just a quick reflection before we wrap things up.
So for this next part here, I invite everybody to use your cell phone to type in your responses and your reflection. This way is also captured as well. So the same instruction, right, is text to the number 37607, the word moving forward without the D, 221. And then your response as a student, what did you learn today? So if you can use your phone to text in your responses, 3 to the number 37607, the word moving forward without the D, 221. Yeah, once you it will give you a message of you've been successfully enrolled in the POEV survey. And then go ahead and type in your responses.
Paul, what is it that you want us to answer? What's the question? Oh, okay, I see it.
Yes.
Oh, you don't have to do that. You just reply to the comments. So. you accept that?
And I was
And then
gonna
just
do
go to
that
your
in
text
the morning.
messages. Okay. Yeah, and then you can use this handle. Okay.
Want me to look right there?
So learn how to make others around me more comfortable with setting the personal boundary. It was the man when she said she learned a lot making bell peace. Lots of pizza. I learned about a different type of boundaries and their traits. I was able to define boundaries and identify the types of boundaries in life. Oops. Okay. So okay. We're going to go on to the next question. There's only 3 questions for this the reflection. Next part, are we all ready to go on? I learned to better identify and why we have boundaries as individuals. Yes. Okay. So next question. What was your aha moment from today's class experience? This was a response from the previous question that we went over. So this next question is, what was your aha moment from today's class experience?
Something that stood out to you, or just like, oh, wow, I didn't even think of it like that. Something that learned, anything that stood out. Your
For those
aha
who are in the 90s, the old snap moment.
Oh, snap. Snap moment.
Yeah, people won't hear you without a microphone, projecting your voice. Yes, it's the same thing for boundary setting. They won't know unless you articulate, unless you speak up and speak clearly. There's healthy boundary to not only enhance someone's.
Oh, they go on the top once they come in. Who wrote that one? Not who wrote it, because it's anonymous, but are you writing it for me? Just kidding. I felt that one.
Some people are very strict with my boundaries. So with all of us, we're not the same in every context. Right? And boundaries basically is about setting up what we can feel safety. It affects our psychological self, what makes us safe. As long as we are safe, then we can lower our guards. If we don't feel safe, then the guards will always be there. And the boundaries we've set up.
And something I learned about throughout this experience, especially creating this lesson, is that if I voice my boundary to someone and I get the reaction of like, oh, that's selfish, usually more than likely that person doesn't even have their own boundaries. Because now you setting up that boundary, now they cannot benefit from whatever you were providing, whether that was attention, emotional support, physical support, financial support, whatever it may be. So just keep that in mind when you put up a boundary and like, you know, let's say Sharon shares with me, like, you know, Melissa, I don't like when, or could you do this? And she verbalized it because I have my own boundaries and practice my own boundaries and I respect my time, my energy, I will respect her. So when you go throughout in life and you notice people use it against you or make you feel guilty or bad for setting up something that makes you feel safe, that's probably someone that you want to keep a little distance, or you can take time to explain more, further with that person. Just keep
Okay,
that in
we're gonna
mind.
go on to the last question. Okay. So here, select your choices, identify the 3 boundary styles.
I like, oh, sorry, I can't say my answer out loud.
I like B.
Oh, I was like D. No, I'm just kidding. I like A, straight Caribbean edge. That, I feel I know who that one. Just feel.
Right, so we have 80% correct.
Oh, 83.
Oh, going up. The answer is C. You know what? So the one is that got A is not gonna hit the top score.
Not hitting the top.
All right, so we go on with some notes. So quickly, now as facilitators.
Yeah, so you're not students.
So you're no longer student, put on your hat as facilitators, right? If you were teaching and you're watching us teach, watching us the process, the flow, the material from preparations to engagement, to attire, dressing, to the language, the vocabulary, terminology we use, right? What are some of the takeaway? What are some of the areas for improvement you want to share with us? And then there's also what are some of the takeaway that you can take for yourself if you were to teach, when you would teach. Not it.
I think it was body language, and you guys felt relaxed and calm and made it like a safe space for us to open up. And that was my takeaway.
We're open for all for feedback.
Yes.
I really like that. So you were very supportive of all our answers and very responsive to everything we were saying.
Excellent. So that
You guys did
validation.
have good responses though, I'm not gonna lie. You guys, that was you guys.
Okay. And any responses online, you're welcome to type in or speak up so that we can hear your voice as well.
Yes. It is bold on the one for us.
Okay, so that's the beauty of this teaching format. It's having primary and secondary facilitators, so we can always rotate. 1, to take a break, right? 2, to be able to observe or do something else. And as you notice, while I'm facilitating, Melissa is preparing something, and we switch vice versa, right? And then having 2 people who also, like when we have a technical problem, we don't just stop. We continue. Someone step up because we both know the material well, in and out. So at any point, someone can take primary, someone can take secondary. And in that way, we become supportive of each other as well. And that's also modeling for our students. And so for us, the positive impact when we have a good relationship. Right? So we're not teaching just by content and intellectual, we're modeling in practice as well.
And just like teaching or training, not everything always goes as planned. You guys know, just in our daily lives, we can plan our day from minute to minute. It's not gonna go. So being flexible with your partner, technical difficulties or the power outage.
Yeah.
Or anything, you just kind of go with the flow and you have trust with your partner. And that's a big thing. So that's why you guys are gonna be working. That's why we designed it. So you guys are gonna, build your rapport together today. So that way when you guys do eventually present next week, you kind of have already built a little rapport with each other.
Any other feedback as facilitator? With your facilitator hat on. If you were to teach, what makes you feel comfortable and confident to teach? So put on your hat. Next Sunday, you'll be here, you're teaching. Right? Next Sunday, you and your pair or you and your triad, or even online for Jump and come on, right? You'll be teaching online. So we're watching you teaching virtually. The concept, the whole content, whole lesson plan online. So how are you going to modify it to make it reach to your audience, to your students? Right? And then we can consult after hours or outside of class as well, but if we need to make any adjustment with the modification, with the lesson plan. But Next week, if you three were to teach your whatever lesson plan is, right? Visualize it. What do you need? How can we support? Because after this session, the next segment is going to be you meet in your group, start deciding what lesson plan you want to teach, and then start processing together. So, okay, who does what?
And understanding the material as well, like, just like I said earlier, designing it, I applied it to my life. And when I applied it to my life, it wasn't just knowledge and skills anymore. It became an attitude. So it's easier for me. I don't have to fully look at something and read line by line. I know it, I have the skills for it, and now I have the attitude for it. So getting to this point, so not just delegating like, okay, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, what do I feel most comfortable with? What, like, let's say, my strong point is presenting, or, that, and I can do that. And Paul, let's say he likes interacting with each group. So then we would balance each other out for that. So that's what you guys will be kind of discussing in just a bit with each other.
And you also notice that we don't just sit in one place, right? We're mobile. Whatever props like you can use, right? Today, this is our just impromptu.
Oh, yeah.
I would use this, I brought this for that. And then, right?
It was not planned.
Right? But then from listening to the conversation, right, it gave me an idea. And so, hey, let's make it visual, right? And then the other aspect that you notice is the PowerPoint. It's not heavy with text, right? PowerPoint is supposed to enhance the engagement, right? Not cause these confusions, right? Or disengagement. So use images. Now, images, use things that's very simple, 1 or 2 words, right? Now we can do later. But they're just use the images that really attract and engage people. And then use that to talk about whatever content that you want to talk about. Okay. So with that, we're gonna break into, well, stay with your group, and then Melissa's gonna give you the instruction for the homework.
Yes, so because you guys aren't real students, this would be a homework just because you may see this when whatever lesson you guys pick. I'll just explain it. You'll also see this throughout Project Success. This is what a support system discussion looks like. It will always have this exact format where right here will be, they are going to go to whomever they have designated for their support system. It can be, like I said, friend, anybody that they feel comfortable and safe with. So if you were a student, you would have gone home tonight or before the next lesson, and you will discuss a personal boundary, a rigid boundary, a porous boundary, and a healthy boundary. So you just briefly discuss it with your designated support system member, and then you can just like write what it is, what it looks like, and you can do it various ways. So you can explain to your students that they can write down what it is, and then they have a discussion like, hey, this is what I learned today, or what do you think a personal boundary is? And then you open discussion. And it's also to help those who may not have strong communication skills to kind of come out of their shell and build confidence. And that's what a side note of Project Success is building confidence. And then the second part will always look like this, where I'll have just a couple questions. And this is for more open-ended discussion, like what are the benefits of having healthy boundaries? Like we may not discuss that today, but do you see how this may lead to the next lesson? The next one is, how do you feel when you do not have healthy boundaries placed? And so if it is a student, a younger individual, they can ask their support system. If it is an adult, like, well, what does it feel to you? And then it, opens their mind to a couple things. And then at the bottom, it's always like, who was your support system today and why? So why did you choose that person? So it doesn't always have to be the same person. So this is what homework would look like, but you guys do not need to complete this unless you really want to, okay? So that's that. And then do you want to do that first, or do you want to do?
Go ahead, do the group.
Okay, so with the group, what you guys are gonna do is you guys are gonna pick what lesson you want, and then what I'll do is I'll be back there, and then you guys can tell me what lesson, and I'll start sharing the documents. You guys have a laptop for your group? Is that one of your guys? Okay, perfect. So that way you guys have something to kind of look at it, and you guys maybe can delegate before, you guys, we did designate time for you guys to be here to talk together, because sometimes once you leave here trying to meet up with certain schedules, and some people work all day or go to school all day, so you can utilize this time to maybe delegate things and then have a deeper understanding. And you also have access to us right now where we can help you or guide you through things and explain things a little bit better. So I know you guys already decided on social media dependency number 5. Have you guys decided on anything? You guys want to do the first day lesson? That's a lot of responsibility. I'm just kidding.
I meant 10.
All right, so let me go share the things with them real quick, and then I'll be right over. Okay. While you share thing 1 with you, I'll share the overview how they one, and then once you guys like grab.
The lesson plan already has a timeline. Yeah, so it's on the lesson plan, it has exactly how much time you want to give for each of the component. Right, so everything is divided up according to that 1 hour of class. So spend 5 minutes for this portion, 10 minutes for this portion, right? It has a breakdown. So that way it helps the instructor manage the time. And if you're still ambivalent about teaching this course, I will go on to this next Sunday in regards to the business side of this, and still for the potential for this. So for each of you, you may be potentially making at least $4,500 per class, teaching only 80 hours. Right, so that's 2 weeks work, right, of work for 4,500. So that's the potential. That's to do 1 class. We're teaching multiple classes a day. That number is like that growth depending on how many classes you teach. So that's 20. It's a life skill. Each life skill has 4 hours. And then next week we'll show you the breakdown of the finances and the marketing, all this aspect of it.
Yeah,
Share.
sure.
All right, so the first one I'm sending you is the actual folder.
So, gentlemen, if you want to help you select the desired block lesson, I guess I'm still talking to each other.
And then I'm going to share the overview. So that way you
Are
can
you-
see what all of like the entire skill of lesson 1 is. They're going to see the agenda for all 4 days. That way you guys can kind of better understand.
Yeah, go ahead, text what lesson plan, and then I'll grab the access to that.
Yeah, so the first one, so for both of you guys, the first document I shared was the folder. In the folder will be the lesson plan and all the worksheets that go with it. And the second one I shared was an overview of all, like the whole lesson and then 4 days, which you're not going to teach all 4 days. You're just going to, that way you have an overview of it. Did they decide what they want?
Still planning.
Okay. So that's it. Oh, so this was a really good question. I'll answer it out loud. Do you guys want to print them? The worksheets, you can utilize us. You guys can print them yourselves. You can do digital copies. You can do QR code. Whatever you guys want, if that part is up to you. So that gives you guys more freedom to do it. And then all the lesson plans are designed the same way. If you need like a deeper explanation, I can explain it. The video that I sent, I believe does explain it a little bit, but they have the time on the side, so it's more of a suggested time. You know, sometimes one thing may go a little bit longer, sometimes it goes shorter. Sometimes your generator goes out. You know, you never know. You never know. And don't hesitate to ask questions at all. So for people online, lesson 1, 4, and 5 have been taken. So you guys can do any other lesson other than 1, 4, and 5.
Do you have it up? Okay, yeah. So you guys can just like assign it, you can highlight it on there, you guys can do whatever you want. And so because it's day 1, there's like a quick check-in, you know, so like what concepts have you started implementing in your life? Okay, so before you start, you can tell everybody we're doing these lessons, previous lessons were blah, blah, blah. You know, and so this will give you like
Yeah.
Cross the boundary.
So here can be activity materials. So if you guys want to add in material, like you know how all the tape, you can write that in on the side. What I might do is go back, so that way if they share a document, I might add in materials and a different thing for you. I'll go home and fix it. You guys can assign it, you guys can bounce back and forth, you guys can have this. And just make sure you look at the key so you know what each thing means. Oh no, and then you guys just end with a quick little thing. And here will tell you exactly what you guys are doing. So we're gonna have to do what is social media worksheet, types of social media, benefits of social media, and then that's it. So it may look long, but it may be because there's a lot of directions for explanation of the worksheet.
We'll do 10.
Okay, you do 10?
Yes.
I'll share the documents right now.
And then,
Yeah.
No.
So the list I share with you the documents and the lesson plan. And you want to so
The first one will be a folder that has the lesson and all the worksheets. And then the second one is an overview of the entire lesson, but you're only doing day 1. But I just wanted to share with you the full lesson. Overview. Just a minute.
so all of these.
Oh,
okay. So we need to do your introduction, and that can help you guys remember, you guys are doing the first day lesson. There's a lesson before this one actually, that you guys don't have availability for it, but it's basically to go before. So you can just go over, this is how it means to share. I mean,
yes,
you can go over that.
We only do lesson 1, I mean day 1, correct?
yes.
Thank you.
What do you think and feel? Type of thing. This is a reflection. Okay, step along with what you think. Then they're going to be next month. There's some of the specified. So we have the questions. We're done with. Then we go to this one. This is a new objective. So here you guys are gonna talk about what are emotions, and then we're gonna do a class discussion. You can, if you guys say what are emotions, now didn't you notice that if we asked a class question, not everybody was like to raise their hand. So maybe you guys can, instead of a class discussion, you guys can do a table discussion and then a class discussion. So you guys can change it up a little bit. The concept is this. So then you're like, okay, well, here, we went over that 8 primary emotions. And then like here, so right there, that's the worksheet. So right when you get here, that's the exact worksheet. Did that answer your question? Okay. And then as you go through, you're like, okay, and some of this might just be reading, some of it might just be questions, and then here. I don't mind, I actually do the emotions eventually. And then, so when you get here, that's the thing. Did that answer? Okay. to, I'll text.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. So you guys are gonna delegate? She's gonna be.
Oh, I mean,
I'll take a group photos real quick before you leave. Oh, guess we'll stay for the next time, next Sunday.
All right.
okay.
Yes. So if you guys want to just figure out which ones you guys want, and then I'll just do whatever.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's something. Oh.
Maybe we can do a Zoom meeting on Tuesday. Each of our exhibits.
Okay, well, I just don't know how we're gonna do this.
Then Tuesday. Meet on Zoom, discuss it. And then maybe Wednesday or Thursday. Either of those, any day after Wednesday.
I can do fine.
What about you?
I had to be equal. So that's what we think. Okay. Let's get it for an hour.
Oh, well, it depends on.
That's why I said-
Usually I'm like done after 6:30. So Monday through Thursday.
Yeah, if I can get out early, I'm ahead of time anyways, so I'll let you guys know. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Just let me know which one you guys want to do, so like,
Yeah.
let us do it on the side.
Okay. We'll give you that.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah. We're just like, we're just- Oh, am I leaving?
Yeah, and what I'll do too is we'll see, you can have you back up some documentaries, and we'll see. how it goes, so.
Yeah, and then I'll look at that tonight.
Okay. Sounds good. All right.
Bye-bye, see you next Sunday, or during the week.
Bye.
Ooh, Jim with the bag.
You guys have a lot of.
There's
Room to
certain parts
make it
you really
personalized.
like, or have interest.
Next week we get a relax.
I was gonna bring in a ringer for the intro.
You're gonna bring a what?
A ringer for the intro, one of you guys.
Me? You guys, oh yeah, we'll be in the audience. Tom will be part of the.
I'll put my popcorn.
I'm gonna treat this group how I was treated today.
With nothing but love and affection.
I'm gonna have some selfish. Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan's, sick. Yeah, if there's something you really like. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll put you over there.
You do this from your sleep, huh?
I did, yes, yesterday. You guys-
No, you can have this one right. Yeah.
The expectations, okay,
Expectation.
what to do next, when it comes, instruction to prepare on.
Come across it or something.
Remind me. My brain needs to realize that we were done, so I'm good.
All right, so for next Sunday, it's all demonstrations. So each of you will have an hour to teach. And then after that, you get the feedback from us. We need to be able to see that you can demonstrate and teach this before you can get certified. Because you can complete the training, but not get certified. All right. Not guaranteed. Right.
It's a break.
So we want to have our training as the highest standard. And so for those who are taking our training and graduate from our program, this program, I imagine, and my vision is to have this trained internationally. And so we're going to start here locally, and then we're going to go to Vietnam and other parts of the world to teach this topic or this program. And this program alone can really generate a lot of income for everybody. But the goal here is to be able to mass produce the skill set to be able to prevent crisis. Imagine the more people who have this skill set, then the higher the chances for them to succeed, the less chances for crisis to occur within our community. So the expectations for next week is for each of you to meet outside of today and to discuss and plan what you guys will do together. Divide or decide what role. Each of you need to familiarize yourself with the content, right, of the material. Stay true to it as much as you can. If you need to modify it, let us know, because our goal is that all this curriculum are standardized. Everyone who's going through the training, everyone who's teaching this anywhere in the world will be having the same curriculum, teaching it the same way. Because this is where the research component comes in. So far as if you do this, you get this. Doesn't matter where in the world that this curriculum is taught. And so if you want to modify in the different activities, but so far as the content or the different modules, stay true to how it's designed. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to Melissa or I, and then we can provide additional consultation.
Just know Friday, Paul and I will be a little busy that day. So we may be harder to reach this Friday. What, after 3 p.m. we should be okay?
Yeah.
After 3 p.m. we'll be available for communication. That is our boundary.
Yeah, but throughout the week
Yeah, we're
before
fine.
that, yeah, just let us know. Shoot us a text and then coordinate a time to set up.
I love these. I'm so sorry.
Save trees. So part of this is for next time, I'll go more into the details of the business side. But first, the first phase is for those who are interested to be certified as instructor. And then after teaching to 3 years, you can get certified as a consultant or a trainer, trainer. So that you can start to be a trainer to train this curriculum and certify other instructors.
I keep turning my back to them. I'm so sorry.
Oh, she's still in.
Okay. I gotta come back to it. It's just that you have to remember this is professional, because that's why it's more explanation
Yeah.
versus activities as well.
Yeah, I would say too, do we have like,
Then you guys are.
Yes,
Are we done?
yes, we're done. If you don't have any, we're done.
Okay, we're done, right?
Yes.
Instructor.
Okay.
I was.
And I need a date with you.
Everyone's still asleep or warming up.
What is it?
We need to set up a meeting.
Yes,
Let me know when you're available.
okay.
Yeah. How about if you guys want to do so, if you don't want to write.
Bye,
Come on, we have-
everybody. Thank you.
And then you just have to tell us, hey, do you guys have access to a projector, things like that. So then you just have to let us
Okay.
communicate with.
So,
Paul
Bajam and Timon, go ahead,
Unless
if
you
you want
provide
to,
it yourself.
go ahead and meet offline and do what you need to do to prepare for next Sunday.
Okay.
And then text, email us if you have any questions.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Do you want to get into Zoom and talk about it a little bit? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Bye.
Jump.
Uh-huh.
how long does it take you?
We just need to meet for about like 15 minutes to figure out who doing what. Khoảng 15 phút của chị. And then you can go. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll see you. I'll send you the Zoom link.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, take care.
See you all next week.
See you next Sunday. Bye.
See you.
So it's.